going on, trendy card game players? Figs here with Figs Form, bringing you guys a new rendition of Phantom Knights. So I wanted to go ahead and showcase for you guys the Bonfire or Pyro search ability. I was able to actually get it paired up with Nemesis in order to be able to actually abuse some of the new fire cards that are coming out, as well as some older ones. But yeah, the Bonfire and the Princess are the cards that we're looking to pretty much utilize for our end board. So I wanted to showcase for you guys the first replay that I did, because it was like not an amazing hand, but it was, decent. Obviously, we've seen Bonfire and Right, which is pretty good with a Phantom Knight name. So I wanted to go ahead and see where we could go with the end board. I do apologize now. I don't use Dueling Book very often. I'm not big on the online client, so I do make a couple of mistakes, but I'll run you guys through it, let you know what I think, show you guys the deck list as well at the end. And then, you guys can tell me what you guys think. So we'll get right into it. So we're just going to play it fast forward, right, Bonfire getting Nemesis Flag. Nemesis Flag is what's going to allow us to pretty much get into Princess and do the shenanigans. Some of the things are out of order, but obviously I remember to do everything as I need to. Pitch the Draco back for Faithful. Cherubini, Graph. We are playing Graph and Sir because that's going to give us our free Link 2 in order to go into a Link 3. So we have those two, set, send. Water Enchantress, to get Right. Nemesis Flag to get Umbrella. So Umbrella is going to be a free level 3 extender, which is very important for our deck, obviously. Princess, bring back Flag for Whale. So the biggest thing that I will mention, the zoning. So obviously we want to set up IP Masquerena if we have the chance on the far left, because it keeps our zone open for a pop under Bardiche. So I did put this in the wrong spot. So I'm going to slide it over in the video just to, make sure I do that right. Also, another thing is, instead of pitching off of the Torn Scale of the Trap, we could have pitched a Droplet to give us an additional interruption. Because as you can see here, with what we have on board, we have Bardiche, we have the Wings into Breaksword, that's 1 interruption. Princess is 2 interruptions. Whale, while it's engraved, can be an interruption, so that's technically 3. IP and SP is an additional 2 with the banish and removal. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So getting the Fogblade could have been 10. If we're not counting cards we draw, 9 obviously is what we can make based on just engine and value of what we draw and what we're using for our engines here. But the only difference again would have been I would have pitched probably Droplet or Right, since we didn't need either of them, since we already had 1 Droplet. And then obviously instead of Wings, search Fogblade, pitch that, send Cloak. We wouldn't have a Trap Engraved, but we would have access to double Fogblade. So when we Droplet sending Fogblade, then we could recur the Breaksword for a pop. But yeah, there's many ways that you can actually utilize this end board differently, and there are things to really consider that I'll get into right now. So when you're using Princess, Princess does lock you into fire. So if you can use your trap to bring back Breaksword first before anything. So if you have double Fogblade, Droplet send, or they link into something, then you bring back Bardiche or bring back Breaksword under Bardiche, pop a card, IP and SP. That allows us to avoid the fire lock. Or if you have to use Princess early, use Princess Pop. Whale's not going to bring anything back unless your opponent has a fire engraved because of Princess's lock ability. But you will be able to use IP Masquerena to go into Pit Knight early is what I'm playing. So you could use IP and the Princess to go into Pit Knight early. And then you can bring back Breaksword under Bardiche Arrow to pop, which will trigger Pit Knight early since it's pointing at Bardiche. So that's another way of being able to utilize the interruption under the fire lock. And then obviously it removes that lock, puts Princess back engraved for next turn, and then allows us to be able to, continue to do our interruptions. Generally, I would say, without inherent value, if you're playing this engine and you're drawing everything you need to, up to par, then you're going to end on an Omni instead of this. So you'll have Token, Griffin, Whale, IP Masquerena, and then 2 Fogblades. So that'll end up being 8 interruptions just purely off value. And then, of course, whatever else you draw, if you're playing hand traps, board breakers, quick play, board breakers, you obviously can have more. But I thought it was pretty cool. It's a great way to utilize this engine. This engine has a lot of great recursion. The only issue for our deck, again, is the fire lock, but I am playing other cards in the deck. They do allow me to obviously avoid those kind of issues, especially because we want to make sure that if we're going to be fire locked, we can go into something. But there is a great way of being able to recur a lot of these cards as well. So this is the list that I threw together. It's pretty much just a very generic list. Again, these are replaceable. These are just the, placements for hand traps or board breakers. I usually try to keep 9 slots open because generally I like to play anything between 9 to 10 board breakers. And then hand traps, I try to push it closer to 12. Generally, I try to do maybe like 10 or 11. But, again, these are the 9 slots that we're using. 42 card deck since we are playing the 5 bricks. And then, of course, we're playing full extension for the Phantom Knight engine because we want to make sure, since we are playing Graph and Sir, we do have the ability to get Phantom Knight names as we need because of the fact that we're doing the Cherubini line with the Burning Abyss monsters. We do need to see more Phantom Knight names in our open just to be sure that we get the second name after we send one off of Bardiche. So it is important to at least see one Phantom Knight name in some way, shape, or form to allow us to be able to, do our full combo. And then, of course, the 3 traps. I'm sticking to 3 because I want to make sure that I had enough room for the Nemesis stuff. Standard, I went to 3 right because we're not always sending Water Enchanters. And it is actually pretty good to open up with right because if we're using Water Enchanters as an extender, we're going to banish it to grab right, and that makes our Nemesis monsters live. So we want to make sure that if we have the ability to get some type of extension or recursion during our turn or playing into a board, we want to make sure that we're utilizing Water Enchanters as a banish and then being able to obviously summon our Nemesis monsters. Bonfire, of course, is in there to go ahead and search our Nemesis flag. And then we have Umbrella, who is an extender, because obviously he's a level 3 that's searchable off of Nemesis flag. If we have multiple copies of Nemesis flag engraved, Umbrella can pick up a flag for later on, because we are able to actually utilize its effect to put Whale back in the extra deck to resummon it, since it banishes itself for its last effect. I don't know why Princess doesn't do the same thing. Card's insane, but in the event that our end board does end on Princess because our opponent, couldn't play further, and we do need to get rid of it, I am playing the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. It's the only Link 4 that I could find that's worth going up into. I did consider Nightmare Phoenix, but I wanted something a little bit bigger because it's like, if I'm going to go into my next turn, I'm just going to go Princess, bring back flag into this. So now I have a 2800, and then Princess is back engraved. So if I don't kill my opponent, it's like I have the access to Princess again to pop Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. Or if I still have Pit Knight early, I can do Phoenix effects. So like they kill Phoenix, early's on board. I can, bring back Phoenix. He gains the attack of Pit Knight early, so he's a little bit bigger. So it's cool. Like you have all this different recursion through the fire engine. The lock is probably the most annoying thing, but as long as you do have monsters in your extra deck that you are able to pretty much, get through, then you'll be perfectly fine with being able to, get it off the board and keep playing. But then, of course, you're still playing the OTK options that you have with Raider Knights and Rebellion. But yeah, otherwise, I think this is actually pretty fun. It seemed pretty consistent. I've gone through test hands. I haven't played. That was actually the first replay I actually did where I was going through the combos of the deck, which is why I was kind of all over the place because I don't use Dueling Bug very much. But I was just kind of going through test hands, and it's not bad. Again, we're seeing what we need for level 3s and to start playing. I mean, it's pretty cool because you can actually see just Water Enchantress and Nemesis Flag and still play the game fully because you just banish, right, activate, search, special summon this by returning this, get the search, summon, and then you search this. Now you have 2 level 3s, so you normal, special, Cherubini, send, graph, Sir. Now, make Bardiche, Sir, bring back Cherubini. Now you have Nemesis Flag on board with Cherubini, makes Princess, Bardiche effect. So you still have literally everything. You have access to all the stuff you normally would. And then since you have the extra body, when you use Bardiche to send Cloak for boots, you can boots into IP. So now you end on Whale, IP, and double Fogblade, which is actually, pretty decent. So yeah, I do like it. Like I said, it does give you the options that you do need, as well as the recursion. And that in itself, even just seeing these two, is actually, in my opinion, enough interruption because you have all the recursion for next turn anyways. So you have double Fogblade, Whale, Princess, that's 4, plus IP. If you can IP into SP, that's obviously 2 more, so that's 6. Again, it all depends on what you have and what you open. But yeah, I do like this a lot. I think it's pretty fun. I'll definitely test it out going into the next format. Because again, Princess doesn't come out at the same time Bonfire does. Bonfire comes out right before Catskills. So I'm expecting to obviously see the card this weekend, but I wanted to go ahead and showcase for you guys my transformation or my formula on the deck. This is definitely something I'll be testing at locals. I definitely think it's very fun. But yeah, definitely give it a try yourself. See if you guys like it. I think these cards are definitely worth abusing. I don't think that you should, limit yourself to just using them in fire decks. But when we do have access to cards like this that do allow us to enable different combos, I think it's great to have these different options. So I definitely will continue to look and see if there's other cards. I do know there are other cards. I was actually looking at one of the tuners. It was a level 4 fire tuner or something like that I thought was actually pretty cool. This guy, yeah. So you can actually use Bonfire, add him to hand, and then every time a card sent to the grave, you can decrease or increase his level. So I'm going to be brewing something up for a synchro deck where you can just go Bonfire, summon this, and then kind of do your normal plays with Water Enchantress, Cherubini, all that stuff. And you can increase and decrease his level. So you can actually get it to level 2, play Ib, or Lib, whatever the name of that card is, the synchro that came off the ban list. Or you can make other synchros. You can increase its level to, get it to, 7, so you can make a level 10 for Baron, or whatever we can do. So definitely going to be looking into this. I think it's a great option as well since it's a free summon off of Bonfire. And then of course, we get more stuff in the next set too, like the level 1 for the Snake Eye stuff. I don't think there's very much that I can do with that, but again, just trying to utilize some of the newer cards in Phantom Knights so that we can kind of produce a neat end board. But again, hope you guys enjoy it. Definitely jump in the comment section below as always, so you guys can let me know what your transformations are. on the deck. Any suggestions you guys might have, definitely hope you guys appreciate it and continue to check out the videos.